I welcome us to the Department Museum, Ike and Tourism UNN. We'll be doing a research on money evolution, how money has evolved over the years, with emphasis on Southeast Nigeria, the Igbo part of Nigeria, looking at how what people used for exchange in the time immemorial through present. So the study is continuing, and today I have with me a colleague of mine, associate professor or reader, Dr. Edmond Itai, who is also here and also have been working with me in this research. So today he will lead us to explain one or two things, one or two relics in the museum that give us clue to understanding how money has evolved through time. Dr. Itai.
It's a pleasure, my head of department. Thank you very much, visitors. As my head of department has clearly introduced, I need not go back again to the introduction he made. This is the Department of Archaeology and Tourism, University of Nigeria, Nsukka. This department, the area you are looking at is the museum outfit of the department, and the museum had been like this, right from, let me say, 1980. The museum had been in existence till now. It was just of recent that it was renovated. Formerly, it wasn't like this, but with the effort of the current Vice Chancellor, and as a result of the impact, the effect of both weather, climate, and some other hazards, the museum needs to be renovated, and it has been renovated and officially handed over to the department. Today, we are welcoming you people into the museum. You are welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Good.
So moving.
Hello, guys. It's still your girl, Dimma Arts and Crafts. Thanks for visiting my page. Today, we'll be discussing about something that is at the heart of every human being, and it's about money. And I am with an important personality, an icon. So, sir, please, can you introduce yourself to my viewers?
Thank you very much. As I said earlier, at the initial stage, I am Dr. Edmond Itai, a senior lecturer in the Department of Archaeology and Tourism, University of Nigeria, Nsukka.
So, today we'll be talking about the history of money and the evolution of money. What was the first thing that was used as money? How long it was used to the present moment? I remember back then in school, so sometimes you come across a question and the question will be like, money is what money can buy, discuss.
Good.
So I would like if you can briefly explain the meaning of money to my viewers out there. Ego.
In Igbo land.
Yes, in Igbo.
Yoruba will say owo.
Okay, so what is money?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Just as you rightly said, but that definition is very shallow. That money is what money can buy.
Discuss.
Is very, very shallow. Well, you said it all. It's an elemental question. If you are to ask me what is money, I will tell you, well, from my own view, that money is anything that can be used in exchange for another thing.
Okay, let's talk about the evolution of money in Nigeria particularly.
Yeah, thank you very much. I will tell you people, that's generally as a sort of introductory part of it, that prior to the human existence up to this stage that we now call ourselves Homo sapiens sapiens, our earlier ancestors, they had no need of money. For the fact that they don't need anything to buy or to sell. Everything was given to them by nature. So each time they get inside the bush, they get what they eat. They don't conduct anything sort of exchange. But as time goes on, the need for exchange started. With regards to the area we find ourselves now, that is sub-Saharan Africa, Africa in particular, and Nigeria, Africa and Nigeria in particular. Initially, our people doesn't make use of the current currency as you have them today, but they have some materials which they use in place of money. Prior to the introduction of those materials, there is something we call trade by barter. That is what we call the barter system, whereby if you are in need of yam and I'm in need of goat, and I have goat and you have yam, we exchange it. You take my goat, you give me your yam, if the quantity, if they are the same thing. It was from that barter system, exchange of one item, one good for the other good, that eventually the issue of exchange started. And eventually, within our own area, with special regards, with special reference to the eastern part of this country, people started monitoring, that is the monetary aspect of life, apart from the barter system, from iron implements. Like, if you can see what I'm touching now, this is what we call coinage Manila. Coinage Manila. It was being used, look at them here. At least we have 5, 6 of them. As you can see them, coiled. These are coinage Manila. Then, in those days, it was acting as money. That is before the introduction of the money you people are, the currency you people are using now. In those days, it acts as money. It's being used even for, as bride wealth. At the same time, it's being used as aesthetic materials, for beauty materials, like as you see my well dressed up and the rest of them. In those days, she can use this, she can wear this within her ankles or within her legs as aesthetic materials, and at the same time, people use it for exchange, especially when it comes to the issue of dowry, paying of dowry. In Igbo land, if you don't have maybe big tubers of yam or something of that nature, or a very large barn which you can use this with kola nut to marry a wife as bride wealth. This is what we called Echi, coiled one, coiled Manila. If we move a little bit, you have another one. This is what we call copper rod. See the one I'm touching? All these are called copper rod.
Can I touch it?
You can touch it.
Okay.
You can feel it. You can raise it up. Copper rod. Before the introduction of the new currency we are using, the modern money we are using now, this is the only recognized money, apart from this, in the whole part of this eastern part of Nigeria. Whereby, if you are going to marry a wife, if you don't have this, they will tell you the number of this that you will bring. It may be 4, it may be 5, it may be 1, depending on what the culture and tradition of that community demands. It represents money, and it goes with kola nut and palm wine. So then, any man who has this is being referred as a rich man. If you have one of these in your compound, you are one of the richest. Talk less of if you have 2, 3, 4 of them. Very, very expensive. And being produced by blacksmiths. Being produced locally by blacksmiths. Showing that it was made out of our own indigenous technology. Not foreign, but indigenous to us. If you move a little bit, as this was phasing away, or it hasn't even phased away, another introduction came in. This one now, not from us, but it came from outside. And that is what we call ego ayore. Ego ayore. That is cowrie shells. You can touch it. You don't have it on top of your head, but these days, girls of these days, they use it to beautify themselves. They wear it within their waist. They use it for medicinal purposes. But at its earliest inception, it was being accepted generally within the whole of Africa as money. This is the shell. This is the shell of Dead Sea animals. Dead Sea animals. That is animals that lives inside big seas and the oceans. Its first inception into sub-Saharan Africa was from the Maldives oceans. That is from India. That was where first it came into this country in the 14th century AD. And for it to enter into Nigeria, it came to us as a result of our Portuguese interaction. It was the Portuguese at the earliest and within that 14th, 15th century that this cowrie shells came into the country. Then we have different species of it. Not all of them were being used as money. But the one being accepted as money when it was introduced by the Portuguese in the 14th century in the whole of West Africa was what we call the monetary moneta. That is the bigger part of it. And eventually, when it came into Nigeria, the one selected mainly as medium of exchange was the monetary annulus. The monetary annulus. You have the cypre annulus and you have the monetary annulus. But the one accepted and used as medium of exchange is the monetary moneta. And it continued to be on sale until, in short, it existed at the same line with beads. With beads. You can see all these are beads. All these ones are beads. Beads were also used as money and also as articles of adornment or aesthetic materials, apart from being used as money. And they are of different types and of different colors. Some beads are being made of clay. Some beads are being made of bone. Some beads are being made of wood. Some are being made of plastic. You have glass beads. You have stone beads. All of them were being used as money, medium of exchange, and at the same time as article of adornment. It was with beads, from beads down to the coiled manelas that we refer to as pre-coinage currencies. Pre-coinage currencies, that is before the introduction of coins. Before the introduction of coins. We shall get to coins, but let me finish everything about these pre-coinage currencies. Now you may ask, of what importance are they to us? Why do you want to conserve them? Why are they here and the rest of them? In our discipline, that is the discipline of archaeology, it has to do with dating. It gives us a lot of information. Apart from the culture of the people, it also helps us in dating some of our artifacts, some of the materials being excavated from the ground. For instance, we've noted the date when cowrie was introduced into West Africa. If in excavation you don't find any of this cowrie shell inside the pit in course of excavation, what it means is that whatever material that is coming out from that pit, from that excavation you are doing, predates the time that this one came, 14th century AD. But if eventually the materials you are getting from where you are excavating, you excavate, in course you get something like a cowrie shell, what it is telling you is that that site or whatever material that's coming up there has to do with 14th century AD date. That is the archaeological importance, apart from the aesthetic or being used as article of adornment. Today, herbalists, traditional healers and the rest of them, if you go to them, you will get this. And they are costly. At times, if you go to a diviner, that is a fortune teller, he will ask you the number of cowrie shells that will bring for him to carry out whatever you want him to do for you. That is those things. And I've told you the importance of all these ones. Apart from being used as money, before the introduction of the new currency, they also play aesthetic purposes. Having been done with the pre-coinage currencies, we move over gradually to what we call the Elizabethan money. Why we call it coinage currency? If you look at them, they are coins. If you don't call it coins, you call it the Elizabethan money. The Elizabethan came from the word Queen Elizabeth II. That was the Queen of England as at the time that we were under the colonial rule. And it was during her own time that coins came in and gradually took over from these pre-coinage currencies. That coins came in doesn't mean that people stopped making use of these pre-coinage currencies. Today, if you go to the village, you discover that some women, wherever they keep their money, they always put at least one of these. Wherever they save their money, wherever they keep their money, they believe that this is the original money, this cowrie shell, and they put one of it inside it, believing that no person can steal it. So people continue to make use of it. It doesn't mean that this was just to scrape la rat. There are some areas today, it plays more, like if a child is born with dreaded hair, if a child is born with dreaded hair, you normally get this tied to the hairs, showing you the value people still attach to these cowrie shells. So, with the coming of the Elizabethan money, that is the coinage currencies, the usage of all these pre-coinage currencies were reduced. The first that came were coins. Coins, as you can see here, coins. At the exception of coins, like the one I have here, this is what we call half. In my place, they said half. Half. That is half of 1 kobo. And if you look at this one now, this was used, this came into use around 1959. This is half of 1 kobo. Before half, you have what we call otikini. You have shishi. Before that, shishi is sixpence. Before you come to shillings, 1 shilling.
That's why some old people don't have shishi.
You don't have shishi. Yes. I don't have otikini in my house. A word shishi. A doberum shishi. That is telling you the decimal quantity of what she's telling you that she doesn't have. Just look at this. We'll be able to keep this. This stayed until when money continued to be changed, like as we are seeing currently. From year to year, the Central Bank of Nigeria will change money, bring out another one. Initially, if you look at this one I'm holding now, the crown there, and this thing you will see there, the figure you will see there, is the head, the crown of Queen Elizabeth II of England. But after the reign, with independence and the rest of them, I will say, politically, we became independent. But as you know, today, our economy is still being controlled by the whites. They've not finally removed their hands from our economy. They've just given us political independence. But today, as I'm discussing with 2 people, they still dictate our wealth and our income. That's by the way. So, coins continued. And what we have here, this is what we call Ibuego. Ibuego, that is a box where money, where coins are being kept. A rich man, this was a caste. Not by blacksmith, but through caste. That was how this ite, just call it Itego or Ibuego. That was how this was made, through caste. This is brass. Brass is an alloy. When it was in its molten form, and a mold of this nature was constructed, they will just pour the molten, the molten brass, that is something like a copper and zinc or copper and tin. They pour it there and allow it to solidify. Once it solidifies, it will take this shape with this opening there. So rich men in those days, if you want to say that to a wedding, I say Ibuego neki well. But prior to this, during the barter system, a man's wealth is being measured in Igbo land, for instance, by the number of wives he has, the number of livestock he has, and the number of yam bands. How many obaji, the yam bands that you have. But with the introduction of money, now they started producing this itego, which they normally hide in a very secret place. Women, they know where they hide their own. And this time, they keep their money, they always put at least 1 seed of this cowrie shell in it. They believe that this is the original money, and wherever they keep their money, it protects their money from being stolen. So, after coins, After coins, still under Elizabethan money, after coins, paper notes started coming out, still under the British imperialism. As at the time that the first paper notes started coming, it was in pounds and shillings. It was what? In pounds and shillings, representing still British money. 1 pound, 2 pounds, 3 pounds. I don't know how many of them, how many of you have seen pounds and shillings. Shillings are just coins like this, but pounds are in notes, starting from 1 pound, 2 pounds, and the rest of them, until eventually with independence and with neo-colonialism, that is after independence, we Africans, West Africa in particular, they started producing their own money, their own paper money, using African logo instead of using the British logo, the Queen's logo, and the rest of them. We started using our own logo, and it's the same logo that we are being used on our paper money, that we are also being used in our stamps. The stamp we use in posting letter in those days. It can be the logo, the head of a human being. It can be an animal, a wild animal from Africa, maybe strong animals like tiger, like lion, like hyena, that kind of thing. Until eventually they trimmed it down to human beings, especially in Nigeria. They started making use of the pictures, the heads of nationalists and humanitarians that must have helped in the development of this country. That is why in some of the notes, if you bring it, like the one I have here, it's old, this 1 naira.
1 naira.
This is old 1 naira note. We have the head of Herbert Macaulay there as the logo. The head of Herbert Macaulay. They used his head because of his role, maybe the role he played towards the attainment of Nigerian independence. We used to hear about Herbert Macaulay from the northern part of this country. Then, look at it well. Then we have other currency notes where, if not the head of somebody, this is 50, that's 50 kobo. Then, just as I said earlier, if not the head of a human being, they can use anything, maybe agricultural plant. There are some of these notes, when you pick them, you will see the granite pillar, like the granite pillar when Nigeria was sustaining their life with agricultural products like palm oil, like a granite, and the rest of them. In some of the notes, they represent it with such things. Moving from 15 naira notes, the same 15 naira as a result of money exchange and the rest of them, the same 50, because with time, from time to time, Nigeria changes their currency. Not only coins, but even paper notes. I remembered in my final year, by 1984-85, in this university, we had currency change. Nigeria changed her currency. Not that it changed the name from Naira and Kobo, but they changed the paper currency, at times even the coins, either by changing the color or changing the quality of the paper they used in producing it, or adding more silver, or adding more gold or more copper to the coins to make it more valuable, to meet up with the outside world. That is why in most cases at times they will change. Or when the paper notes in circulation are becoming so dirty, there used to be occasion of which when you go to the bank, the money you will get from the bank will be as rotten and smellish as. So once such is discovered, there may be the need to print out, to change, or maybe to add quality, remove the old one and bring out a new one. So such is continuing till today. And currently, you see what is happening within the country? The CBN governor, in his own initiative, they've decided to change the currency with their own reasons and the rest of them. Whatever is behind it, nobody knows. But all I know is that the federal government has decided through the governor of the central bank to change currency again, and that is why we are coming into, not all the paper currencies were changed, some denominations were changed. For instance, the value remains what it is. But it is only the color. It is only the color. And maybe some quality of, I don't know what they use in printing money, that we are added. So like now, you see the new 1,000 naira notes, you see the old 1,000 naira notes. I see no difference between these two except the color. This one is new, and that is why it stays strong. By the time it will last to this extent, it will still become weak. I don't know, whatever. But I know the only thing that is static is change. The only thing that is static is what? Change. So things continue to change. And that is why, starting from the initial stage where we started, from the pre-coinage currency up to the Elizabethan money, down to now what we have, the currency notes. So evolution continues, not only with material things, but especially in anything that is mortal. As I am standing with you people speaking, and as we are discussing, the first species of the first thing that resembled human being weren't like me and you. It was as a result of evolutionary trends. From the Australopithecines to the Homo habilis, from Homo habilis to Homo erectus, from Homo erectus to Homo neanderthalensis, from Homo neanderthalensis to Homo sapiens sapiens. And that is we, the modern men. So evolution, inevitably, is a continuum. And nobody knows actually when another evolution will come, especially as it has to do with we mortals, human beings. One of my lecturers in those days told me, because I asked him a question, this issue of evolution, are we sure that what we are learning from science will continue? Or are you people just telling us rhetoric stories? He said no. That taking into trends what he was showing us, we can see the changes, the physical changes between the other one. And he was telling us that anytime a child is born by a woman without these eyelids, not these ones that girls of these days used to remove strip with a razor blade and the rest of them, that anytime a child is born without these eyelids, that person is not a normal human being. He is a different species from us. And that will tell us that evolution is taking place again. Another form of human being is coming out. But evolution is not something that comes in 100 days. It takes at least 1 million, thousands of years before you will get such a change. Please, at this point, if you have any question to ask me, I'm obliged to take some questions from your people. Thank you.
Okay, guys, so today we'll discuss about what our forefathers were using then as money, which start from here. They were making use of this, to this, and to this stage. And according to my prof, he said that in those days, that if you have this, you're a rich man. Talk of when you have 2 or 3. So from this, they got to this. I have this that I use at home. I use it to design my hair. But this was what our forefathers were using then as money. To there and to that other currency that we use now, which is this color money. This, talk of this, I have this thing as well. I have it.
It's also used as money
used
and
as
also
money.
for aesthetics.
Then this, Ibego. This one is one that I love most.
For storing coins.
Ibego. So today, I brought to you the history of money, how they were using it to this moment. So I still remain your humble girl, Dimma Arts and Crafts. Don't forget to follow me on all my social media handle at Dimma Arts and Crafts, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, as I will be bringing you up more updates. Thank you. I love you all. Chacha. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. I love you.